Hey, good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. Welcome to another iCar webinar. My name is Terry Ticel. I am the Director of Field Sales here at iCar, and my co-host joining me this morning is Brenda Ramsey. Brenda is our Customer Care Manager at iCar. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning, Terry, and everyone else.
So, everyone, as you know, we have sent out an update and a release, and we will be going live with our new PDP version 2 launch on Monday, October the 7th. So given that launch date, we wanted to get some material together and get some information together that we could share with you so that you could have essentially an advanced understanding of how you will be impacted at that launch, how the program is going to change versus what we are currently doing, what you are currently doing. So we wanted to come up with some highlights of the iCar Professional Development Program that was specifically just for the collision repair shops. So with that, it is really our intent to make this information really relative and specific to you. With that, I would ask for you to take some notes as we go through the enhancements and as we provide this particular information. Additionally, at this point, all of the individuals on the call are muted, so you will not be able to directly ask myself or Brenda any questions. But at the end of the presentation, we are leaving plenty of time for questions, and those particular questions you will have to type in and send, and we will overview those and do the best that we can to answer those specific questions as they are related to the new PDP program. So again, a lot of information to cover here, again, all specific to the collision repair facilities. So with that, I'm going to ask Brenda to come on, and Brenda, run us through what we've got for highlights and for all of the good things upcoming in PDP V2.
Absolutely. Thanks, Terry. I appreciate that. All right. So as Terry mentioned, these are highlights. None of this is probably new information, as I know there's been several meetings, presentations, and emails that have been sent out to all of you. But we tried to gather the most commonly asked questions and things that come up often so we can review them with you all in one sitting. So if I can get my screen to click, here we go. Topics. One of the biggest questions we get is, what can I do right now? Subscription has been a big topic of conversation, transition plan, platinum and gold class recognition, training alliance, welding training and certification, along with the hands-on skills development, the curriculum and system enhancements, and of course, as Terry mentioned, time for questions and answers. What can I do now? The most commonly asked question. Keep training. Complete all the courses you're enrolled in. There's a lot of people out there that have finished virtual classes or online classes and just haven't been through the post-test. Make sure that gets completed. Everything's going to carry over automatically for you as we go forward into the new system and into the new PDP 2.0. If you already have a My iCar account, please check your profile. Make sure you have a unique and valid email address already entered in there. That's going to be essential when we move forward so that you can get in, take your classes, get your grades, see your training needs. If you don't have a My iCar account, no reason to wait. Please create one now. It's going to make everything easier. When we move forward, all you'll have to do is go in and do a quick activation. And last but not least, sign up for a training subscription. This is a benefit only available to Gold Class shops. We have a lot of shops that are taking advantage of this now, but this is not something that you have to wait until we go forward with our launch to take advantage of. I know many of you have seen the details about the Gold Class training subscription. This gives you some highlights. The cost, of course, varies by shop size. The average shop size is 9 technicians, which would come to a cost of $39.25 per year. That's made up of this $1,000 base shop fee plus $325 per tech. So a shop of 9 would be that $39.25. Shop of 4 would be $2,300, and a shop of 15 would be $58.75. What's included? Unlimited consumption of live, online, virtual classes, RTS, Ask ICAR. The only things not included are the hands-on skills development, welding training certification, and in-shop knowledge assessment. Those are separated by request, so the only time you would incur that cost is if you, your shop, or your technicians truly do need that type of training. As we transition to the enhanced ICAR, we've talked a lot about grandfathering. Those that will be grandfathered at launch are active Gold Class shops, individuals that have an active Platinum, along with anyone who's enrolled in an in-shop knowledge assessment. And to clarify, the payment needs to be received and processed. This chart has brought much discussion. The transition is much simpler than sometimes I think we make it out to be. The first column lists the roles, which you're all familiar with. The only thing different is shop level requirements, which we'll discuss. The second column, a 2019 renewal, is portraying that you have an estimator in Pro Level 3, a non-structural tech in Pro Level 1. So what happens at your 2020 renewal? Well, when you look at that third column, your technicians progress to the next Pro level, just as they do today, just as you know it today. So that Pro Level 3 technician would advance to annual training. The Pro Level 1 technician would advance to Pro Level 2, and so on. Once you get to the next column for the 2021 renewal, that's when you start making up gap training. So on the top line, when we refer to the estimator, that was Pro Level 3 in 2019, on annual training in 2020, when they come to 2021, they would be making up their gaps for Pro Level 1 and Pro Level 2. When they get to 2022, they would make up their Pro Level 3 gaps. And as they advance to 2023, they would resume their annual training. At no point ever will someone be expected to work on more than 2 Pro levels. We're not looking to have everyone make up all those gaps at one time. As you can tell, it's a very steady transition pace to make this for a lot easier for use. We want to make sure those gaps are covered by the existing technicians. That way you can be reassured that they have the same knowledge and skills area that your upcoming and future technicians have. When you look at the shop level requirement on the bottom, there is no shop level requirement in 2019, nor will there be for grandfathered shops at 2020. And once you get to 2021, you would do the first level of shop requirements. At 2022, you would move on to the second level of shop requirements. And at 2023, you would move to the third level of shop requirements. Platinum. Here's a chart. On the left, it shows our current PDP 1.0 roles. Many of them I'm sure you're all familiar with. The right-hand side shows the enhanced PDP 2.0 roles. The changes or enhancements have been highlighted. In the future, the steel structural technician will become your structural technician, as well as your aluminum structural technician. The electrical mechanical technician will be divided into two roles, the electrical and diagnostics tech, as well as the mechanical technician. All other PDP roles will remain the same. Current state, PDP 1.0, we know they achieve platinum at Pro Level 1. In the enhanced PDP 2.0, they achieve platinum once they complete Pro Level 3. On the bottom left is a list of all roles for which your technicians can achieve platinum recognition as we move forward into the future state. Here we're going to go over how this affects your technicians and what that will look like for them. Current aluminum structural technicians, as we mentioned, will be structural technicians at launch. It does not impact their platinum status. As long as their platinum is active at launch, they're going to maintain that status. As we mentioned previously, the aluminum and steel structural technicians become structural technicians at launch. And of course, if their platinum is active at launch, that'll be maintained. We realize there may be a difference in dates there. We have a lot of technicians that have been steel structural technicians for longer than they've been an aluminum structural technician. So we're going to look at the earliest start date, the furthest renewal date, and the highest pro level. So in general, maybe I've been a steel structural technician since 2016. I didn't start aluminum structural until 2018. My start date's going to reflect that 2016 date. The date I have to renew is whichever one has a renewal date furthest out. And if I was Pro Level 3 as a steel structural technician and only Pro Level 1 as an aluminum structural technician, I will be at Pro Level 3 as a structural technician when we launch. For the electrical mechanical technicians, that's divided into the two roles, the electrical diagnostics as well as the mechanical. And for those roles as well, the platinum status will be maintained as long as it's active at launch. So if I'm a Pro Level 3 electrical mechanical technician, once we launch, I will be a Pro Level 3 electrical and diagnostics technician, as well as a Pro Level 3 mechanical technician. Gold class. These enhancements are the ones that we tend to focus on. Gold class, as you know it, in PDP 1 is at Pro Level 1. When we go to PDP 2.0, it requires your technicians to achieve Pro Level 2. Reminder, that doesn't apply for those shops that are grandfathered in 2019 and 2020. The required roles, as we mentioned previously, change slightly. Estimator, non-structural, refinish remain the same. Steel structural will become the structural role. The optional roles change, as we had spoke about. Production management remains the same. The electrical mechanical is divided into the two roles, and the aluminum structural will go into the structural role. As far as the number of roll reps required, current state, there are 4 roll reps required. Any remaining technicians are non-roll reps. As we move forward to PDP 2.0, the roll reps are scalable based on shop size. So 50% of your estimators, non-structural, and refinish technicians, along with 100% of your structural technicians, will be roll reps. You'll need a minimum of 1 technician declared in each role. All remaining techs will be non-roll reps. Again, not applicable for the grandfathered shops for 2019 and 2020. And the number of roles held by a single technician, current state, they can hold all 4 roles. Future state, a technician can hold up to 2 of the required roles. Shop level training does not exist at this time. Shop level electrical diagnostics and mechanical theory courses will be required in PDP 2.0 and not applicable for the grandfathered shops in 2019-2020. Annual training is 6 hours of role-relevant training. PDP 2.0, that becomes 6 role-relevant VTST, Vehicle Technology Specific Training courses, which can be completed using ICAR courses or any approved Alliance courses. Turnover, that's always a challenge in this industry. Right now, if your technicians are hired within 6 months of your renewal date, no training is required. If it's greater than 6 months, training is required. As we move forward, newly hired employees are exempt from training regardless of that hire date. Of course, 100% turnover is not permitted. The renewal timing, shops can renew 6 months early. If you're a Gold Class shop, you're familiar with the Gold Class application, the faxing process, the review, and allowing up to 48 hours for processing time. As we move forward, that's going to be done by the system. It'll automatically be updated upon your shop's renewal date at the appropriate time. No more paperwork. Welding training and certification. Right now, welding is required for steel structural at Pro Level 1. That switches to Pro Level 2. Steel sectioning for the structural is at Pro Level 3, and aluminum remains optional. We talked about scaling, so hopefully this chart assists a little bit with a visual. We have our 2 technicians that are estimators. Current state, that means we'd have 1 roll rep and 1 non-roll rep. As we move forward, there's the 50% roll rep rule. So you would still have 1 roll rep and 1 non-roll rep. In non-structural, if you had 3 technicians, current state, you'd have 1 roll rep and 2 non-roll reps. Future state, based on the 50% rule, you would have 2 roll reps and 1 non-roll rep. It's the 50% rule, and we round up. For the structural folks, if you had 3 technicians now, you would have 1 roll rep and 2 non-roll reps based on the 100% rule. In 2.0, all 3 would become roll reps. And for your refinishers, again, that's the 50% rule. Optional PDP roles do not have a Gold Class training requirement. And again, just a little reminder at the bottom of this slide that this does not apply for the grandfathered shops in 2019 and 2020. This is for new shops only. Training Alliance. Students must provide the Alliance instructors with their ICAR ID or the email address on file. I cannot stress the importance of that enough. You'll be very happy if they do, because our Alliance partners are going to submit that training directly to ICAR. The credit's automatically going to go onto their training record. This has eliminated the need to fax a paper application. And better yet, there's no longer a fee to either the shop or the students. So please make sure your technicians are prepared if they are taking an Alliance course to ensure that this goes through the automated process. Welding training and certification and hands-on skills development. Current state, steel GMA welding, have that in the future. Same with aluminum, same with steel sectioning. The term goes from 5 years to 3 years. The purchase is still done a la carte. There's a note that this is excluded from subscription. Again, you will only have that cost if you need that for your shop or your technician. Current state prerequisites are encouraged. The WCS 03 is enforced prior to the SPS 05. In the future, the prerequisites will all be enforced in the shopping cart, including the online prerequisites. For hands-on skills development, that remains an a la carte purchase. Again, this is done in the shopping cart, separate from subscription. The prerequisites will be enforced. And as it relates to the hands-on skills development courses, which current state are optional, MIG brazing and spot welding will become a Pro Level 2 structural role requirement. Here is an overview summary of what we have for hands-on skills development and welding training. The standard pricing will range from $13.95 to $14.95 for one student. Each additional student is $300. So if you have two students, that will range from $16.95 to $17.95. Of course, that cost reduces with Gold Class pricing, roughly 20% off the standard pricing. So that would be $11.16 to $11.96 for one student, or $13.56 to $14.56 for the second student. Any additional students increases by $240. We mentioned the welding skills and re-verification. Important to know that this is not a class, this is not coaching, this is not teaching. It is a recertification. The cost, as you see there for Gold Class shops, is $350 to $525. That varies dependent upon the course and the cost for the materials. And the in-shop knowledge assessment is $25.69 per day, a flat fee. There's no partial days. And the average visit is 2 days for a shop of 9. The assessments go through Pro Level 1. The curriculum by role. There is a bunch of information on the iCarTrainToGain.com website. It's very detailed. I'll respect your time and won't go over every piece of that with you, but I encourage you to go there and visit that. Just as you do today, you can look for the particular role, the pro level, and see the courses that are needed to accomplish those needs. But some things that we wanted to call out, the course count is up, the training hours are down. So if you look in the middle of the screen there, right now for the Pro Level 1 to Pro Level 3 core roles, there are currently 71 courses, and in the future there are 128 courses. But when you look below that, you'll see the number of training hours reduces significantly from 236 hours of training to 139.25 hours of training. These are much shorter. Again, this is based on feedback from the industry, sizable pieces, avoiding redundancy, ease of use, more interactivity. When it comes to the system, there is going to be an online tutorial available in your My iCar at launch. This will assist you with navigating many of the enhancements. But two things worth note here that we want to call out in advance is the pro levels and knowledge areas, because the way you view them today changes when we go to the future state. So in the current state, the pro levels show the pro level you're working on. I'm working on Pro Level 1, Pro Level 2, Pro Level 3, or annual training. As we transition into future state, it's actually going to display the pro level that you most recently completed. So a Pro Level 1 technician, once we launch the new system, will show as Pro Level 0. A Pro Level 2 technician will show as Pro Level 1. They have still achieved the same pro level. It's just the way the reports and the data is showing. It's going to show you the level that's most recently completed. Current state, the knowledge areas show you what you've completed. In the first example, we've completed 4 out of 5 knowledge areas. Once we go to future state, it's actually going to reflect the number of courses that are still needed. So it would show that we needed 1 out of 5 courses, just as the other samples below. Maybe it's 2 out of 12 now. In the future, it would reflect that 10 out of 12 courses had been completed. And the other question that comes up often, what happens to those courses I'm enrolled in? Don't worry, they're carrying over into the new system. It's going to be done automatic for you. There's no action required on your part. Just know that the pro level or roles that those specific courses apply to may change. All right, that brings us to the Q&A, Terry. I appreciate everybody bearing with me as we went through that information. And if you have any questions, we encourage you to go ahead and enter those, and we'd be more than happy to try to review them. Go ahead, Terry.
Hey, Brenda, thanks for that overview. We appreciate your effort there. So a couple things that I would have. Can you give us a little bit more insight and explain exactly what a grandfathered shop is so that all of the participants have that clarity as to what a grandfathered shop is?
Absolutely. A grandfathered shop is any shop that has already achieved Gold Class and is actively Gold Class at the time of launch. Additionally, we are grandfathering in any shops that are part of the in-shop knowledge assessment program. So if they have already paid for an in-shop knowledge assessment, even if we haven't got to them yet and they have a date set up in the future, they will be grandfathered in as well.
Perfect. Thanks for the clarity on that. And again, to recap, Brenda, what is maybe the biggest or 2 biggest things that the shops can do right now prior to launch that would make their launch transition a little bit easier?
To make the launch easier, I recommend everyone goes into their profile if they have a My iCar account. If not, like I said, create one. Go in, check that profile, make sure your email address is current, unique, ready to go. I know in a lot of situations, shops try to share emails, and that's not going to work going forward. I know I'm guilty of changing email addresses and having multiples. So go in there, review that, make sure that's the most current information to ensure that courses are easy in the future as well as future communications.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Folks, something additional that I just want to allude to and that Brenda captured at the beginning of the session. Continue to train. We've got current state classes still available at our fixed training sites. I would certainly urge you to get your technicians registered. If they are not for those, capture all of the classes you possibly can prior to launch. We have many, many classes available out there now in your areas. Additionally, the field staff is working on some live class offerings for the PDPV2. They are being scheduled daily, so we'll have a plethora of those classes available once the launch begins on October 7th. So again, be very cognizant of that. Continue that training so it makes that transition from PDPV1 to PDPV2 that much easier for you as we begin that transition process. So, Brenda, with that, do we have any questions that you can relate to the group and have some answers for?
Absolutely. Got a few questions came in. Mandy, do you mind showing the change for the hands-on section classes again? Mandy, let me see if I can get back to the slide that you're looking for, and if not, let me know. Is this the slide, hopefully, Mandy, you're looking for? If not, please clarify. Yes, it is. All right, I got it right on the first try. I like when that happens. Thanks, Mandy. Steve, how will a technician's training record show at 10/7? We renew our gold class on 12/19. Will it reflect after that or at 10/7? So the technician's training records, although there'll be different reports and different views, whatever they are now is what they're going to be at launch, Steve. You renew your gold class at 12 on December of this year. So they're going to still, because you're already gold class, you're grandfathered in. So they're still, if you're on somebody who's on pro level 1 and they haven't finished, once we go live, they're still going to need to finish pro level 1. You may see some changes to the knowledge areas. You're going to see some changes to the courses. Maybe they need 1 class. Once we go live, maybe need 3 of them, but they could essentially be a shorter time as well. So we'll walk you through that. You should have an assigned customer care rep if you're a gold class shop that's there to make sure this transition goes as easily and as smoothly as possible, and we're all in this together to help you out there. Carrie. Trying to get there. Yes. Bear with me here. Small font and old eyes, but I'm going there. What happens if we're on an extension since we're waiting for a class? Great question, Carrie. If you're on an extension, that means you're gold class. That means you're grandfathered. You will not be impacted by that. Will we be grandfathered? Yes, Carrie, absolutely. You've done your part. We're going to make sure we take care of you. Mandy, I'm not able to get one of my shop's gold class. MEA01 isn't available. Any exceptions for that shop? Mandy, let's take a look at, I'm going to make a note, and we're going to look at what you have going after this webinar, and we'll see what your specific scenario is. I promise we'll be reaching out to you. David has a question about live classes that aren't in his area. David, we can reach out and follow up with you afterwards too. I'm going to look at your specifics. Nick, regarding grandfathered shops, if the in-shop knowledge assessment has already been completed, will the shop be included in the grandfathered portion? Great question, Nick. I was worried about those that were concerned about future. But yes, you are absolutely grandfathered. Thanks for calling that out. I appreciate it. Mandy got her question answered. Jim, will there be more online courses available for production management designation? What is the status of that role development? Yes, there are more classes for production management. They are moving forward with the various pro levels. I'm not 100% sure of the exact availability at the data launch, but I know that's something they've been working on even prior to this, Jim. If something's not ready and you have somebody transitioning to another pro level, we are absolutely going to make sure that they maintain their platinum status and nothing expires there as you work through it. Good for you. You must have people working on pro level 3. You're ahead of the curve. Jim, if you understand correctly, I have till 2021 to split the role reps, as I am currently the role rep for all 4 roles. Note that, Jim, that change happens at launch. I don't know how many people are in your shop, but we need to make sure that nobody's holding more than 2 roles. And if you need assistance looking at that and assistance figuring out what's the easiest way to help with the training, please give us a call here in customer care, and we're more than happy to walk you through that. Or if you want to speak to me directly, my extension's 250. I'd be more than happy to talk with you. Lori, can I get a copy of the slides? I wasn't able to attend on time. We don't have a copy of the slides or the link for this, as Terry had mentioned in the beginning. As we get these questions, there may be updates as we go along. Sorry that you didn't get in the beginning. There are other sessions, Lori. So There's, I believe, 5 more to pick from, maybe 4 coming up in the future. Next week, Central Time, we have one at 12. We have one at 5. Next Wednesday, there's one at 3. And next Thursday, there's one at 10. All of those are Central Time. Feel free to sign up for another session, and we'd be more than happy to go over it with you and answer any questions that you might have missed, seeing as you couldn't get in until a little later. Steve. So they will work towards PDP 2.0 requirements starting in 2020. I want to make sure I'm answering that question in the context that you're directing it. Steve, are you already a Gold Class shop and grandfathered in? Because I believe that's the case, and if so, you're going to be working on the same exact pro levels, same roles that you are now, unless, thanks, Steve, you're quick on the answer. Yes, good for you. You don't expire till December. Well, let's get it done now. We can get you done early. But yes, they're going to still be on the same pro levels. They're not going to have to do the scalability. You're going to move forward with the same exact requirements you have. I know you're on it, Steve. I'm trying to be too. You're going to have the same exact requirements you have today. If you have somebody who is pro level 1, non-structural, and they need to finish their requirements, when we go to the future, they're going to have to finish the requirements. The courses they take or the names of the courses to get it done might change, but other than that, you stay with the same transition. If you need more specifics or somebody to look at that, again, your customer care rep will walk you through it. We're all in this together, I promise you. Oh, I got a yay. I'm not sure what, Carrie, thanks for the yay. I'm not sure which part, but I like it. Phyllis, the new courses will be identified by name and not have a code, like WCS04. Will there be a cheat sheet of the old codes and the new names to reference? I know what you're looking for, Phyllis. There is no magic cheat sheet because some of those courses actually changed. Some of the courses, you'll know, like the WCS03 for welding, it still becomes the welding. Some of those will be pretty obvious, and more than happy to work with you on that basis. But there's a lot of new content, a lot of new courses, and that's why we're calling that out, because it relates to the knowledge and skills areas as well. Steve. Uh-oh, did I miss this one, Steve? You're moving towards more hands-on in-shop training. Are you staffed for that? I believe we only have one trainer in that area. Great question. Yes, we are working toward more hands-on and training in the shops by request of the industry, and we've been staffing up for that as we go along. We have people that are willing to do it. There's additional staff being trained. There's been ongoing training for these courses even before they became available to the public. And if you happen to be in one of those areas that someone's not right in your neighborhood, they do have the staff to make sure that that gets covered. Of course, if you're in a big city, they might be more people. It might happen faster, but we're going to make sure everybody's needs are taken care of. Michelle, you have 5 stores. Need a live class. Michelle, we need to look at what those are, and we will see what we can do to get that taken care of for you. Are you already Gold Class? Mandy, thanks, Brenda. This was informative and clear. All right, one for me this morning. Thanks, Mandy. I appreciate that. It's really hard not to see your faces. Jim, will we still sign up employees like now for the training? Yes, you can still sign them up. It's going to be a little bit different when we go live, and hopefully it's going to be a lot easier. If you're a Gold Class shop, there's a Gold Class planner in there. If you're familiar with our current state training schedule report, which shows your training needs, the feedback we've always got is, why can't I register from there? So the Gold Class planner in the future is pretty much just that. It shows all your training needs. There's an easy button, for lack of a better word, that you click. It puts everything in your cart. You can get training for everyone. The key to make that successful is to make sure that all of your technicians have activated their accounts. That's going to be the most critical piece on the day of launch, the week of launch. I know everybody's busy. I know everybody's not going to get to everything on the first day, But truly, first step as we move forward is get your technicians to activate their accounts, then move forward with planning your training, registering for classes, and looking at those needs. And there's actually information built into that report that will call out and highlight in yellow if someone has not activated their account to make sure that you stay on track with that. Jim, is there a limit to the number of administrative or support staff that can train under the subscription? No, Jim, there's not a limit. We have a lot of data from the industry, and we understand what those percentages are of people in the shops. So unless all of a sudden, somebody's got all their steel structural technicians becoming administrative where you're not falling within the standard guidelines of that industry, absolutely not. I mean, we know what those percentages run. We have the ability to monitor that type of information to a certain extent, and that's the whole point of offering the subscription, is so you can get those administrative and support staff trained. Maybe you have somebody that's, not sure if they want to lean toward the technician side or not. Get them that exposure and see what they know. Mandy, has the adding classes, checking out to pay for classes improved with less steps? Absolutely. Like I mentioned, you have the Gold Class Planner. That'll get you into all the classes you need for Gold Class. Of course, if you have OE or DRP requirements, you might need to monitor that separately. And because welding and hands-on is not required for everyone, and we all know that you need a certificate of insurance, COI, prerequisites, etc., and those are not already scheduled since they'll occur in your shop, no more faxes. You can do all of that through the shopping cart. So I think you'll find that to be much easier as well. Mandy, again, sometimes 20 technicians for classes. It's very time consuming. I hear you. We have faster ways to do it. We're looking at ease of use with this system. That's a lot of the purposes for moving forward with that. And we're going to find those easy ways right along with you, Mandy. If you need help, let us know. That's why we're here. And one last question. You're welcome, Mandy. Lori, are there changes made to the way you add or remove from your employee roster? Great question. There are not. You'll still communicate that with your person in customer care, and they'll make sure that's taken care of for you. And that looks like the end of questions. I appreciate all of you hanging in there and listening to me talk and go over those slides. Did I miss anyone or anything? Great. I appreciate everyone's time. I know things are busy out there. Terry, I'm going to turn this over to you, sir.
Brenda, thank you. We appreciate your wisdom and your insight in going over the presentation. A lot of good stuff there. One of the questions were proposed. I would encourage you folks, if you did not get into the presentation at the beginning, certainly join us in the future. Next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll have a couple more of these presentations. Additionally, I would ask that you would encourage some of your colleagues, some of the other shop owners that maybe didn't have an opportunity to jump on this morning or on last night's event. Let them know that there is a lot of information here and that we will again have these same presentations next week at some different time frames. So again, thanks for taking time today. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate all the questions. Again, if you do have any questions, maybe that you think of later, certainly feel free to contact your customer service rep. I know Brenda's available at some points in time. She's awfully busy, but if you do have something, we definitely are here for you. We want to make sure that we get you as prepared as we can prior to launch. So certainly feel free to utilize us prior to that. With that, folks, again, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. We appreciate your efforts. We appreciate you training with ICAR. Have a great rest of your day and a good weekend. Thanks. See you soon.
Have a fabulous day, everyone.